So welcome back to the channel. We have a strange video for you today. We're going to tell you the story of a lawsuit that's erupted that's been picked up by some in the music industry. It's a lawsuit where a billion-dollar brand name that's as popular as Elvis Presley, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Queen possibly rolled all into one. And the family of that person who's no longer with us is suing what is one of the very last small production shows in Vegas where you could actually afford a dinner and a show and come in at under, say, $250 while you're here. This could have some serious implications for this small production show, a small show that got through COVID and is still being successful here in town when it still has to compete with the likes of marquee headliners and Las Vegas Raiders games. But I think there's a real reason that this is happening, and it has a lot to do with celebrities that tend to fade away out of the realm of memory and just disappear like Elvis Presley did. We're going to cover all of that in this video. It's a business video. And speaking of business, let's get the business out of the way. Time for an opportunity to tell you that this channel actually has advertising opportunities on it. So if you have a business, you have a concept, you have a product, and you want to get in front of 10,000 of my viewers, go ahead and drop me a line to nllvcontact@gmail.com. I'd love to put you in my videos and help drive traffic to you to help you grow. Send me an email, nllvcontact@gmail.com, so we can help you grow here through Not Leaving Las Vegas, and you can hit 10,000 viewers on my channel. And speaking of viewers, what about the viewers of this show? And what show am I even talking about? Well, I'm talking about a show called MJ Live. If you've been in Vegas, you've seen the billboards. At one point, I believe it was at Stratosphere. Now it's at the Tropicana. MJ Live is one of the last dedicated impersonator shows here in Vegas. And they've been getting cease and desist letters from the family of Michael Jackson. And don't get us wrong, like this isn't some kind of giant entity like when the Elvis Presley people all cracked down on the wedding chapels a few years back, right when the movie based on Elvis's life was premiering in theaters. This is quite literally just Catherine Jackson and whoever's responsible, brothers, sisters, the kids possibly, getting together and trying to stop MJ Live from using Michael's likeness in the show. So why is this a big deal? We'll get to that in a moment. Why is this actually happening? Stay tuned into the end of the video because I'm going to get pretty philosophical with you in ways that nobody else will. But we have to talk about the powerhouse entity of the Michael Jackson family first before we see the David and Goliath that's really going on here. So Michael Jackson, I looked up his net worth, and apparently some people said his net worth was $30 million when he died, but a few years later, it was estimated to be well over $1 billion. Suffice it to say, his family inherited all of his assets after he passed away. So, you know, this is if not $1 billion company, an organization and group of people going after a small production number called MJ Live here in town. Now, MJ Live is not new to the scene by any means. I mean, MJ Lives have been around for, I think, 12 years, was it? And according to the actual producers of the show, it's performed over 3,600 different performances. And not all of that is just in Vegas. But if the Michael Jackson people have their way had, they will stop the productions outside of Vegas from happening. So the show's performed around the country, as far out as even South America. Yeah, I mean, the show's done performances in different venues outside of Vegas, and it's entertained countless millions of people, which is very strange why all of a sudden, after this many years and this many performances, the people from Michael Jackson's estate are cracking down on it, claiming what exactly? Well, I think you figured it out by now, right? They're saying he can't use the likeness of Michael Jackson in the performances, and that the use of the initials MJ are somehow banned. Now, the question here is whether they actually have a legal leg to stand on. And the other interesting part of the story we'll get to in a second is the fact that, yeah, the MJ Live people, they're not taking this sitting down. If anything, they're actually suing Michael Jackson's people and countersuing for reasons we'll get into in a sec. What have the Michael Jackson people actually done? Well, first things they've done is they sent cease and desist letters out to the theater and out to the show operators out here who say that they have a legal leg to stand on. And they probably do. See, we are in Nevada right now, and it's a city that basically has had impersonators since, you know, the Rat Pack came through. Elvis was a big thing in the past, but you don't see Elvis now, which lends to why I think this is all happening, and I'll explain that in a second. But we have a law here on the state books that says that you so can have impersonators and you can monetize that stuff. lest you would have different lawyers and attorneys running around the strip telling people that they can't cover songs because they look too much like Bon Jovi, or that they can't just sing and look like Elvis Presley in a sequin jumpsuit that they paid probably a lot of money for if they're an impersonator. So we have laws to protect this here. But the MJ people, the Michael Jackson people, that is, they haven't just stopped in Vegas. As a matter of fact, I'm reading that they've been sending out cease and desist letters to various theaters where the MJ Live show is scheduled to appear in places like California and other jurisdictions around the country. So there is a chance that the Michael Jackson people might be able to stop the MJ Live people from doing their show in other jurisdictions. But it's just a nasty way to treat a small show. MJ Live seems to get great reviews, and the fact that they were able to regroup and move from the stratosphere down to the Tropicana, it says a lot about this production, and I hope it can fight back. And exactly how are they fighting back? Well, that's where the interesting thing comes into play. See, MJ Live is suing Michael Jackson's estate. How the heck could you possibly sue Michael Jackson's estate? Well, see, they're claiming the Michael Jackson's estate is doing this because they have their own show with the term MJ in it. And I think herein lies the real crux of why Michael Jackson's people are trying to sue and shut down the MJ Live show. See, there's a show on Broadway right now called MJ the Musical. And trust me, I looked up the tickets for MJ the Musical. You're starting off at $90 at that show and $48 at the Vegas show. But that show there, I believe, is a way for the Michael Jackson estate just to keep the legacy of Michael Jackson going a little bit longer. But there's more to the story than that. See, most of these shows, they're going to start off on Broadway, and then once they finish their Broadway run, they like to put a smaller show and hit all of the different theaters around the country, if not the world. You would have seen the same thing with the Michael Jackson Immortal World Tour after MJ died, and we had a Cirque du Soleil production in Vegas, which didn't fare all that well, quite honestly, until it became MJ1 as we know it today. And then the Immortal World Tour that did spend some time in Vegas before that Cirque du Soleil show came about, and then toured all around the world in different jurisdictions, as far away as Tokyo, Japan, for example. Now, when they do these kinds of shows, I'm certain that they don't want any kind of, confusion over MJ Live and MJ the Musical. And that would be really bad for them because people would be confused as to what to buy tickets over. But by keeping Michael Jackson the Musical propped up and diminishing the MJ Live show, I believe that the estate is hoping to keep the legacy of Michael Jackson alive just a little more. So now here's the philosophical warning part. The philosophical warning part is simple. See, what happens with entertainers is really curious. As time goes on and generations are born, these older musical acts, they tend to fade out of existence in people's mindsets unless they are smart and put themselves on TikTok videos or whatever the new media is for that day. Take a look at what happened with Elvis Presley, for example. Elvis Presley was the king of Las Vegas for a really long time. As more people are not listening to the music and it's not in the popular Rubicon of the culture, that music is less licensable, less profitable, and like Elvis, it fades away. When's the last time you saw an Elvis impersonator or more than one on your strip trek to Las Vegas? Has been a while for me. There's a couple of them out there. There was even a Cirque du Soleil Elvis show over at the Aria, but the show closed a very long time ago due to lack of popularity, which lends to the lack of the Elvis brand not being as popular in this part of the world, which happens to be the most profitable part of the world for getting yourself commercial placement and radio streams and plays. And I don't think Michael Jackson has any new album material coming out, but maybe it does with them having a musical. So I believe this is all just a fight to diminish the MJ Live show and prop up MJ the Musical. So when it does hit the road, there's no confusion between the two. It's probably also a cash grab from the estate. That's my allegedly. We'll put a big, huge disclaimer on that. Who knows if they're actually generating as much profit as they'd like off of Michael Jackson's likeness. But I will tell you that Michael Jackson would never have wanted this. If you're a Michael Jackson fan or you're a 90s culture fan and you like the 90s pop culture, you'd know that Michael Jackson lent himself to many projects, but he always had to change his name because he just loved pop culture. In The Simpsons, he was credited as a different person altogether so he could skirt around his record deals. When he was in Ready to Rumble 2 Boxing, he went with a different name and even lowered his voice for that feature in that video game on the Sega Dreamcast years ago. And he even gave himself and his musical talents over to Sonic the Hedgehog because he was just a video game fan. So would Michael have actually wanted this? I'm thinking the answer is no. But you can tell me in the comments below if you've seen the MJ Live show and if you love it as much as everybody seems to. I'd love to see it myself. So if you're watching and you guys want a review, reach out to me. Or if you want to do business on the channel, reach out to me at nllvcontact@gmail.com. My name is Steven. Once again, I'm not leaving Las Vegas. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, if you're just browsing through, you'll subscribe for more content. We do these all the time. Now's the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, and click.